Yeah, it's true. In my head, I was never smart enough, talented enough, pretty enough, or likable enough. Everyone seemed to have things figured out far sooner than I did, and against the backlight of everyone else's accomplishments, I didn't seem to shine. In my head, I just wasn't good enough. I hated myself for about 13 years. Then 2020 came. I don't want to attribute this change to the year entirely, but it did play a huge role in motivating me to reflect on things. There comes a point in life when one finally realizes that who they are is both a culmination of nature and choice. You are who you are, but you can change, for better or for worse. At the end of the day, our issues are our own, and only we have the power to change things we don't like about ourselves. Before 2020, I felt powerless and at the mercy of my terrible thoughts and emotions. My anxiety emerged in adolescence and peaked as I transitioned into adulthood. I could be on a high and instantly dragged into a low, all while being my own worst critic. I had no control, and perhaps no desire to control something so scary. I tried to hide my panic attacks because normal people didn't deal with these things. Little did I know that no one in this world is so well put together. The quiet of last year helped me realize that we all have our individual fights, our own individual flaws. The turn of the new decade sparked something in a lot of people to review their lives. How is this new decade going to start? How would it end? Were they going to struggle the same way they had the last 10 years? And the big thing that happened last year, you know the one, gave people that additional push, myself included. That thing I said earlier about nature and choice is such a freeing thing to realize. If you operate from the mindset, this is how I am and there's nothing I can do about it, you're going to feel boxed in, robbed of options, and life is going to be miserable. On the other hand, if you operate from the mindset that all you are is an amalgamation of events and choices, then you have no real sense of identity. And in those quiet moments by yourself, you'll feel that emptiness. And me, I did both. Because I couldn't stand me, I made myself whatever I needed to be around other people, to be as agreeable and likable as possible, which was stressful as all hell. And yet, in other moments, I convinced myself that I was fundamentally wrong, and thus incapable of changing. I've realized that both approaches come from the same root, the idea that you have no agency in your life. And as hard as it may be to realize at first, that couldn't be further from the truth. But only you can convince you otherwise. The process only gets harder if you compare yourself to others, and it's such a tempting thing to do. For a long time, I looked at the pretty people with their pretty lives and their pretty relationships. How easy it would be, I thought, if I had that confidence, if I had those looks, if I had that charm, if I had that life. I constantly berated myself for not being them, all without realizing that what I saw in other people was an incomplete picture. The assumption that someone has it better or is more put together is, dare I say, the most destructive thing we can do to ourselves. It feeds this idealized lie while killing our enthusiasm to make positive changes in our own lives. The truth is, I'm never going to be someone else. You're never going to be someone else. Because hey, we're individuals. Now that can be empowering or it can generate panic. I can say from experience, the latter option kinda sucks. Of course, with all bad habits, it takes time to get rid of old mindsets. For me, things didn't just click when the clock struck 12 on January 1st, 2020. For the last 5 of those 13 years, I dedicated time to writing my thoughts, feelings, and dreams down, whenever I felt inclined, which was often. Putting your concerns, feelings, and thoughts down on a piece of paper can really lend insight down the road. You can end up seeing flaws in your own line of thinking or in how you approach your challenges. It gives you something tangible to analyze, come to terms with, and correct. After all, change can't come if you don't recognize what needs to be changed. And as much as I hated it at the time, the years I spent without the company of friends gave me time to really figure out who I was underneath all the insecurity and loneliness. In a way, it prepared me for the big thing that happened last year, you know the one. The toughest thing for most people to do is to sit by themselves without social comforts. It's easy to forget what's wrong when your laughter drowns out the voice in the back of your head. It's a hard truth even I didn't want to consider. But I realized if I couldn't stand to be alone and I couldn't really stand who I was around other people, then something had to give. Yes, I hated myself, but I loved myself enough to not want to stay in that mental hell. I fought through it, and it's an ongoing process. I now recognize that I am me, that I am who I am, but I also have control of the me I can become. What changed is that I finally realized my agency. It's ironic, really. In this new world where things are shown as so out of control, a lot of people have been finding themselves. All it takes is one step. That's not to say I've reached the summit. I still struggle with insecurity and anxiety, but there's no failure in that. What differentiates the old me from the new me and the old you from the new you is power of will. Are you willing to love yourself enough to climb that ladder, lonesome as it may be for a while? Because to me, that's the greatest gift you could give yourself, a better and wiser you. When self-loathing no longer rules or decides your lot in life, the opportunities are endless. I now know I have something worth saying, something worth giving. I now respect myself. I and many others out there are living proof that you can change, and there will come a point when you can look in the mirror and love what's staring back, even if you do it bit by bit. For those who need to hear it, you have a right to be here. Your existence isn't a burden, and any other terrible thing your mind tells you is a lie. It will get better, but you have to put in the work, and it is work. Loving yourself isn't always pretty. It's being willing to dig deep and build something better inside yourself, no matter the amount of effort or time it takes. Are you willing to take that chance? If you made it this far, thank you. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. I'd really appreciate it. Stay safe, stay curious, and don't forget to take the leap. See you soon!